Well, hello there, person with hair on your head. If you want your curls to do all the things that they should be doing, flourishing, shining, shimmering, then you need to go on over to Holmes Wholesale, where Donnie from D&H Hair Care is waiting to give you what you need. She has the answer to your hair woes. I am a personal fan of the pH Balance shampoo and conditioner. My word, I've already described the smell as Idris Elba's bed sheets. I would go a step further and say it also quite possibly smells like it smells like Love Talk and Slow Jams. It smells like, I don't know, I believe it's possibly the kind of like incense that I think Beyonce would burn. Like, it's just a very beautiful, enriching scent. And it leaves your hair feeling silky, soft. And, for some of us, for those of us that's got the 4C curly hair, you know what it gives? You got to make sure those curls are moisturized. And that is why Donnie has us again set up for success with the Renew Organic Finishing Oil and the High Shine Glossifier. Listen to me as I say to you. Go on over to Holmes Wholesale and get you some of Donnie's good things. And while you're there, use the code CRP10 and you'll get 10% off of your order. Now you need to hurry up and do it now because this is a limited time offer. You know what I'm saying? This is not for eternity. So you need to get on over to Holmes Wholesale right now and get yourself all the things that I've mentioned. CRP10 is that code. Let's start the show. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of The Crossroads. I am your host, Rashida Green, and this is the show for and about environmental justice and those who fight the fight with skin as melanated as the days are long. Knowledge is power, and we are breaking down stereotypes, but not on this episode. This right here is a bonus episode. That is correct. I am taking a mild break so I can come back next week ready to rock and roll. We are still very much so in the throes of the legislative session. And, these bills are just flying left and right, and there's a lot of things happening. I even found some things at the federal level that merit some discussion. So I decided, you know what? This week, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take a breather, and I'm just going to come in here and talk to y'all. That's right. You guessed it. I got some drink in my cup. Just a little bit of chilled Riesling to wet my palate this eve. And I'm not going to stay long, mostly because I do not want this, when this kicks in, I need to get off of here as quickly as humanly possible. But also because, I want to keep it short and light. That's my mood. Short and light. As we begin every episode, we're going to give some flowers. And I want to give flowers to a few people. The day that I'm recording this, it is March the 9th. It's Tuesday. And, today's the day that Biggie died, Notorious B.I.G. And it's so crazy that I continue to first date myself, but also that I celebrate sort of, at least, like I very distinctly remember today looking at the calendar and staring at it like something happened of note today, and I was like, oh yeah. So I'm listening to Big all day, intermittent with like other random things like Gunna. Listen to a lot of Gunna and Drake. A lot of Drake. I don't know, I'm just Drake today. But first and foremost, I wanted to give some flowers to him. And you know what I realized as part of giving flowers is that I remember when like Tupac and Biggie like died, of course. And I remember the only thing we didn't have any reference for this. We didn't, like our generation, we didn't have any equivalent of something like this that had happened before. So the only thing most of us could grasp to sort of was like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. And that Chris Rock joke where he was, basically was like, he blew that out of the fucking water. But I would say that it is similar. So we didn't have that. But the great thing is that at least we can help the youth who go through this a lot more frequently than we had to. And we can say, well, we understand, because no one understood. Like, it was sad times. So I just wanted to say that through and through, millennials, we continue to got y'all, because we got y'all, because we're the ones that actually can understand you in a way that y'all's parents probably can't. I know no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do my mom too much, but I'm just, she did the best she could to understand, but she had no frame of reference. I mean, I guess not. Cause there was Sam Cooke, his death was mysterious, and there were other things. So I'm sure she could relate, but anyway, the point is, we got y'all. So I want to give some flowers to the only Christopher Wallace that we acknowledge. Second person I wanted to give some flowers to is LeVar Burton. I just want to respect the history and the legacy that LeVar Burton has left us, is leaving us. Not just Reading Rainbow, but, Star Trek. And just even with his podcast that he has right now, and Roots, LeVar Burton, it just continues to just be excellent. And I just wanted to acknowledge him today. And last, but certainly not least, it's a little belated, but happy International Women's Day. I shouted out some of my friends and my podcast sisters, as well as my guests in residence, and just wanting to celebrate all women. Crossroads Podcast, among many things, is also a gender neutral show. We love everybody. Everybody is welcome. Okay. So next thing I wanted to talk to you all about was this Patreon business. Now, I have a Patreon, and okay. Just please ignore how I sound about this and just acknowledge what I'm saying. Okay, so I've got a Patreon. And I've got a couple tiers set up. Nothing spectacular. Just a couple quick tiers. So the first tier, just wanted to explain it. The first tier is you just want to give me a little bit of shmoney, and I will shout you out on the show. As you know, if you've listened to me, I give lots of shout outs. They may seem random, but they're not. I do it on purpose because I want to, as much as I shine, I want to make sure that other folks that I know and in community with are also getting the shine that they need and deserve to. So that's the tier 1. And then tier 2 is, okay, you want to give me a little more change. Not only am I going to continuously shout you out on the show, I am also going to allow you to make suggestions of the kinds of topics that you want me to cover on this here program. That is right. Not because I am trying to basically what I'm trying to do is use multiple brains instead of just my own. Now, the beauty part is that yes, I do have an excellent community of friends and colleagues who send me things, who keep me updated on things. But as I have said numerous times, I can't do it all. So I need more brains. So if there's things that you want me to cover, if there's some budding research you want to make me aware of, here is an opportunity to do that. This is for anybody. This is for bloggers. This is just for folks who want a message amplified. That's for anyone who wants me to cover a specific topic on the show. If you are a supporter of this program, you know what I talk about. And you should have a good idea of the great kinds of things and topics that maybe I haven't seen yet, or new budding innovations that are coming on the scene that I need to be made aware of. And you can give me that information that I can share with the masses. So that's tier 2. So just 2 tiers for right now. But if you go to patreon.com/Crossroads Podcast, you will find me. You can sign up and support me. Support me. All right, so that's Patreon. I did want to have a quick chat about the beauty of Black Twitter, particularly how you all took Vision and made him look like old dude from Insecure. You know, you basically made him look like that guy, and I wish I remember his name. But I don't know why y'all did that. But it was, I mean, it definitely made me do a double take. And I was like, did he really wear that turtleneck? And I was like, he must have, because that's the only way Black Twitter would have picked up on that turtleneck. I mean, I know I was curious so I started watching WandaVision. I've been watching it, but I started to watch it and I was like, what does this man look like regularly? Would I find him attractive? Like, he looks kind of fine as a robot. But I'm concerned that if we took all the robot off, that underneath there is just a dork white man. And I wasn't wrong. I was not wrong. Because when he was doing those early scenes in The Office, I was like, he looks like, that librarian that has that one random talent. People who have, like that teacher who can dance really well, like randomly. There's nothing necessarily extraordinary about him, except he can dance real good. That's what he gave me. The dude. I don't even know what the guy's name is. I feel so bad. I'm terrible with names. It's really something I need to work on. Anyway, we're not perfect, but basically, this dude, y'all turned him into like a snack, and and then you also turned him into Plies. It was just a lot happening. It was a lot going on. I think a couple instances he looked like Kodak Black, and I'm like, okay, this is too far. But I enjoyed it. I also maybe wanted to talk about Coming to America. I liked it. Why'd have 3 daughters if they're literally just little Russian dolls of each other? Like, what was the point of having 3 girls if they're literally the same character, just in different sizes? That was my only gripe, my main gripe. And also that my other gripe was that the beautiful woman that the dude ended up with, her dream was to open up a barbershop. I can't even say it. Her dream was to open up a barbershop. Like, I just, like, my first question was like, Jesus, did Donnell Rawlings write that? Or I don't know. And it's nothing against him, but it's just something funny I feel like he would think is like cool. Like, he goes all the way to Africa to find a woman who wants to open up a barbershop in Queens. And I'm just, anyway, that was my initial thought. But overall, I liked it. I don't want to do too much because I don't want, one day if Tyler Perry listens to this. I mean, I'm not going to do Tyler Perry. I remember very distinctly getting into a disagreement with a perfect stranger at Blockbuster, dating myself, I don't care, about Tyler Perry and about his movies. A perfect stranger was already ready. Everyone has this, every Tyler Perry fan, like before he became who he is now, and it was just those plays and I guess like the couple of the first movies. Like, this was definitely after, what was that movie where she put that man, like, she didn't wash him and then she threw him in the jacuzzi? What was that one? That was Diary of a Mad Black Woman. Yeah, so it was after that point. So he was already like that guy to Black folks anyway. But like every single Tyler Perry fan had the exact same like story in reference to the cross-dressing. Oh, that's just how he grew up. And not, I don't remember, something like, not how he grew up, but that like he grew up around a lot of women or whatever. And it's nothing about cross-dressing. It's just very interesting that people like to pick and choose what cross-dressing is acceptable and what isn't. So that's it. That's the only thing. And I just, so when I knew that Madea was involved in this movie, I knew that it probably was going to, not be as feisty, we'll say, as the first one. And I'm not saying some of the things that happened in the first one were marvelous, but I also don't think that trying to make up for it with like weed related date rape, which is, never mind. It's fine. It was cute. I liked it. It was good to see everybody. James Earl Jones literally dramatically passing away at his own goodbye party is legendary and wonderful. I'm so blessed. That's another person I need to give some flowers to is James Earl Jones. I mean, for sticking the F around and like seeing everything come around full circle. We are so blessed to have that man and that voice, that beautiful blossoming voice, just serenade our kids for years to come. I like it. I do. But I was kind of, I don't know, why have three girls? All right, so that's Coming to America. I did also want to talk about some of the like horror I've been watching. I think I want to talk about the fact that I saw something funny on Twitter. I think it was a question about the Halloween franchise. I think someone asked about Halloween H2O, which again, dating myself. But if I'm not mistaken, that's the one with like LL Cool J in it. So the comment I made was that, this movie helped springboard LL Cool J's horror career. Because after that, shortly thereafter, he did Deep Blue Sea, which just the sadness of watching literally a claymation version of Sam L. Jackson getting eaten by a shark is just oh man. But anyway, I watched on the Shudder channel. Shout out to the Shudder channel. I love it. It's also, some of that is curated by Tananarive Dew, who I told you responded to my email. And like, I believe may actually be a fan of the show. I don't want to go too far. I don't want to go too far and like jump out of the window, but I think it's possible that horror maven, writer, scholar extraordinaire Tananarive the Dew is a fan of the Crossroads podcast. And I got to sip on that. But the Shudder channel has the first season of Eli Roth's show about monsters, and it's really interesting. And there's a lot of interesting commentary to talk about zombies, to talk about vampires, just every single, and of course slashers. And I would say here lately, it's funny because ever since I I'm learning about horror as not just something that I randomly enjoy, because I love horror films, love them. There's a couple of horror films that I have not gotten to that are like the deep cuts that I know I need to get. But to my credit, I have seen some cuts that are disgusting and traumatizing that a lot of people probably have not watched, like Cannibal Holocaust. It's funny because I have like a frame of reference now for like what these different, images mean, now that I'm actually reading up on it, and also being able, even through this show, to explore how horror and history are connected, because a lot of awful, traumatic, horrifying shit has happened in history. And it's, horror movies and everything else, the entire genre is a way to discuss those things. So anyway, I was just commenting on the fact that like this excellent show on the Shudder channel explores different, the different tropes, I guess, or different images or metaphors that we commonly see in horror. And one thing I can tell you, like, disgusts me, even like Cannibal Holocaust disgusted me because it was real. They were killing real animals. Like, it was a lot, the director did a lot to like continue this crazy hysteria that he'd made, that the 4 actors had really been killed, which they had not. But imagine that kind of like heightened foolishness in the 1970s where there's no internet. It wasn't like, you can be like, oh my God, on your Finsta. No, there was none of that. People really thought these people had died in this movie. And so I just think about like this, like the different levels of terror, I guess, and having a frame of reference, not just what I watch, but what I read too, is helping me to break all this stuff down. And all I really wanted to say is that I don't like, blobs, things that are like formless or like can randomly grow appendages, that's the shit that freaks me out. Like, that's the shit. I can handle literally everything else. But when you start talking about like The Thing, the original and the remake, I refuse to watch the remake because I watched the original probably at an early age when I should not have. And I could take it. But now when I watch it, I literally sit there with my face screwed up like someone farted, or I Dutch oven myself in the car, just tight in the face, watching this movie because I know it's something disgusting is about to happen. But you know what? I think it prepared me for 30 coins. I'm really excited about 30 coins. I really enjoyed that. That was one thing that I did watch in the time since ending grad school, getting out of grad school, and just really finding more things to do. More things to do. Intermittently, I watch TV, and that was one of the things that I was really enjoying was 30 coins. So I think we've come to the crossroads because I told y'all, I feel the wine creeping up. I feel it creeping in. I came on. I just wanted to cut up a little bit, give some flowers and some shout outs. It's wine time. Shout out to Yash from the Wine Time podcast. But yeah, no, part of me just taking this break or having this bonus episode is also to thank the listeners, because without you, I would not keep going. If I didn't check my stats and see the numbers, I would be like, you know what? Forget this. It was a manageable kind of thought when it was just like a few people listening. And I was like, oh, okay. 9 people. That's like a classroom or something, or something like that. That's like, oh, that's like the finance department at my job. 9 people, something small and modest. But when you see it, when it increases and you're like, oh my God. And then it's, just the way that it's been increasing. And I owe that to the support of my listeners. And so that's really what this episode is for. I should just really be giving flowers to y'all, because if it weren't for my listeners, if it were not for my podcast sisters, if it wasn't for all of us banding together to like really support each other, being on each other's shows, promotions, hopefully if you guys have listened to the last episode, you've already registered for Erlene and Janae's Get Focused conference, which is completely 100% free. Please do that. Please get all up on that. And if it were not for the community, I don't know where I'd be. I really don't. I would probably still be trying to do this show completely by myself, like with no guests at all. I was actually, when I first started the show, that's what I'll talk to y'all about. Now that I've meandered for a little bit, I can actually find something to tell you all. So when I first started this show, and I think I've kind of talked about this a little bit. When I first started this show, I had no intentions of having guests. I really didn't think that guests were going to be for me. I really thought that guests were going to be just something I did on occasion, and that mostly it was just going to be me thugging it out, recording, doing all the things by myself. And and you guys have heard me shout out Afia Reina a few times, and like she's actually how I met Lavanya Jones from Consciously Funded. So it's this growing network of people, and at the same time as I'm like getting this started, here comes Reina with like a list of people to be on my show. And it was so amazing because there was so much alignment in the guests in that first season. A lot of them were folks dealing with agriculture. And it was, primarily Black folks, coming on the show, talking about their experiences and what they were trying to do, like Ibrahima and, just so many great folks coming on and sharing their experience. And I that's not what I imagined. I thought it was just going to be me. Like right now, maybe not with the wine, but it's just me talking, which is cool, I guess. But it's also cool to have someone else come on your show every once in a while and shake shit up a little bit. That's why I enjoy being guest on other people's shows, because I get to cut up. I don't have to be in the driver's seat, and I can be a little more fun. Not that I try to have fun. This is me having fun. And hopefully, if you've heard me on other platforms, you know I tend to go to other people's shows and cut up a little bit, because it's the only time, not the only time. And maybe I should budget a bonus episode every like 6 or whatever, however I feel like it. Just throw one out here so y'all don't think all I do is be sitting on my couch. But for real, mostly what I do is sit on my couch, watch television in the background while I research. I like research a lot. It just, learning is something I cannot turn off. Even though I'm done with school, you'd think I'd be ready to just be out here in these streets. And I kind of am. I mean, not yet. Yeah. I'm on the fence about the vaccine. I know it's unpopular. But I'm kind of on the fence. So I would like to be out in these streets, but I'm also like, nah. So coming up in the next episode, I am going to be doing a little bit more of a dive back into the ocean waters, specifically talking about this from more of an economic standpoint. You know, in the past, when I talk about like the ocean and water and all that, I'm usually talking about it from like a sciencey standpoint, but I think we need to kind of switch a little bit and talk about things from the economic standpoint. So that is going to be the subject of, you know, the next episode. And I am going to give you guys some updates on all those damn bills that are going on in Maryland's legislative session. So there's going to be more of the awesomeness, more of that awesome sauce y'all come back for every week to listen to me tell you how shit is just falling apart, you know? I used to like to go to IKEA to watch the couples fight. All right, that's enough. All right, well, thank you all for joining me on this bonus episode. Hopefully this was at least passably entertaining to you. If you all are new to me and this platform, you can follow me at Crossroads Podcast on Instagram, Crossroads Pod C1 on Twitter and Facebook. I'm also on the Tickety Talks doing absolutely nothing, so don't follow me there. And you can always visit my website, allroadscross.com, and get on my Patreon and support me. And thank you for joining me on this random tour around little bits of my brain as I drink wine. And we will see you again at the Crossroads. I got out just in the nick of time before the liquor kicked in.